capecoddcollege.edu@gmail, right? In your Google
All
sign
right.
in?
I don't know what just happened, but now it's working.
Okay.
I didn't do anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Muting myself.
James, I just sent you the link.
Twisted Vision. I mean, South. We think it's absolute. Hi, James.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you today?
Yeah.
Welcome to the April 1st iteration of our college meeting. I will start, as is customary, with a reading of the land acknowledgement. So please allow me to share my screen for this. So let's go here. Thumbs up. Can everyone see this okay?
Yep.
Thank you so much. We acknowledge that we gather as Cape Cod Community College upon the traditional and ancestral land of the Wampanoag. We condemn the unjust deeds done in the past and honor with gratitude the land itself and the indigenous people who have stewarded it throughout the generations. We commit to uplift Wampanoag and indigenous voices and continue to work for reconciliation through collaboration in our role as better neighbors.
People of Valuehead.
Thank you so
He's
much.
known as the son of Sam. Cold-eyed single.
Who am I hearing here? There we go. I would just ask for not muted. And our first item on the agenda would be a motion to approve the minutes from our March 4th meeting. Do I have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion. Darren Stalker.
Thank you, Darren. And do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you so much. Is there any discussion on the minutes as submitted on Friday to the campus community? And I will give just a moment for folks while I call up the poll then. So I have an absurd number of, of polls that I've created, and I have to go through a list of like 40 polls to find the correct one. And if anyone, by the way, knows how to reorder polls in Zoom so that they fall in a particular order in the list, I would love to have you help me with that, because there we go. Approve college meeting minutes. Let's launch the poll right here. Thank you so much. The poll has been launched. And we are comfortably above quorum, so I'm going to go ahead and end the poll for this and share results here. So college meeting minutes have been approved with 79 in favor, 1 against, and 2 abstentions. Stop share here. And so our next order of business is to approve the business committee reports that were distributed on SharePoint. Do I have a motion for approving the committee reports as submitted?
So moved.
Thank you so much.
Second.
And the second is on that. Is there any discussion on the business committee reports? While you are thinking about that, I will again search for the committee reports motion poll. And here we go. Approving committee reports for the month of March. And I will let this go a few more seconds before closing the poll. At this point, we'll go ahead and call for any last minute votes on committee reports. And We will share our results. Committee reports were approved, 77 in favor, 2 against, 12 abstentions. And next, we will proceed to announcements and information. I would like to start with Hemant from the Science Department regarding the honors program.
Hi, all. This is Hemant on behalf of the Science Department. I just wanted to give you some, some clarifications regarding the position of the Science Department with respect to the honors courses that were sent out by Kate Martin. We were asked to consider adding honors credit to existing courses that already contain a research component. In a sense, making them a hidden honors course, provided a student got a B or a higher grade. What the department agreed was that some upper level courses could have their curricula revised. The 2 courses that were considered were cell biology and molecular genetics, but this actually requires work. It cannot be done in the immediate time frame. It can be done by the next academic year. It would also be important to understand that it's unfair to award honors to future students who complete the same work that was done by past students. Those students did not receive an honors credit for the work that they did. So based on these, we respectfully request that these 2 courses not be on that on the honors list, but we will revisit this next year. Thank you.
James, can I throw in a clarification?
Kate, is that you?
Yep.
Yep, thank you. Go ahead.
Thanks so much. We weren't actually asking, so perhaps there was some confusion. We weren't asking for the science department to do anything differently besides allow students to create a poster based on their research that's already part of their curriculum and present at the honors reception. Because of course the science department doesn't actually get to weigh in on what we give honors credit to. That's the honors program purview. But as to Hemant's point, and I presume the entire science faculty's point about unfairness, we are offering or want to offer more of an opportunity to students to get honors credit, to allow them perhaps a little bit more transferability. So, things change, and that is one of the changes that we had hoped to make. So I get it, we're not going to do it. And that's, that's fine. We can't and have no intention of forcing any of the science faculty to support the students for honors beyond what they want to do. So I just wanted to, we didn't ask for any kind of curriculum changes. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Kate. And I see Dr. Vranos, you have your hand up.
Thank you. I just wanted to state that in the event things like this occur, we have a history of evaluating how far back we can go in acknowledging a course that receives a new status. So because it hasn't been done in the past, doesn't mean that we can't evaluate whether we can make it retroactive for a certain period of time. We have a history of doing that, and it is not prohibitive. So I just wanted to put that out there for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vranos. And I will just put word out that this goes beyond the scope of just an announcement. So probably there are better venues for which to discuss this. So I would urge folks that might be able to take this up, say at honors committee or in different committee settings. That would be the more appropriate place to keep debate from entering into announcements themselves. Thank you for that. And Lisa, I believe you're next on the announcement.
Yes, can I share my screen?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm here to announce the one book debate. We had a change in topic at the last minute. we've decided that instead of talking about Trevor Noah, we're going to talk about our cats plotting to take over the world. We want to make sure we take a stand on this important geopolitical issue. We know cats are stalking us. We know they're staring at us. We need to take a debate. Just kidding. The real one book debate. Is it ethical to bring a child into an evil world? Trevor Noah was born a crime in apartheid South Africa. Was his mother wrong? This is a controversial topic. We thought an interesting way to discuss this issue. It'll be April 11th on the Science Building GO5. And my apologies, there will be no cats.
Sorry for that outburst. That was pretty funny. Thank you for that, Lisa.
You're welcome. April Fool.
Next, we have Kristen St. Ange regarding transformative talks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to start by thanking the students, faculty, and staff that were able to join us last week as we kicked off our transformative talks, which is our collaborative action for inclusion. And we have a number of guest speakers that will be coming to campus through the end of June. And our next speaker, I just want people to keep their eyes peeled for emails. Our next speaker is Ayana Freedom, who is a licensed social worker, author, activist, and wellness expert. And she's coming to us on April 10th. And then on April 23rd, we have Farah Asaraj, who is going to, keep us on our toes on that day for sure. Farah Asaraj has taught language learners across the nation, as well as assisted different schools, K through 12, and colleges look at ways that they can provide inclusion through DEI for our language learners. So keep your eyes peeled for our varying talks throughout the remainder of the semester. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. Next, we have Alex Russo for Accepted Students Day.
Good afternoon. I'm disappointed that there will not be a cat debate, so maybe that can be on a future debate schedule. So I just wanted to do a quick announcement. We, in the admissions office and enrollment team, we are putting together an Accepted Student Day, and this is going to be the first time we've ever done this, and we are inviting over 300 recently graduated high school students from the class of 2024 who are admitted for the fall semester. So we want to have a big day of celebration for this group. Their parents and supporters are invited. And this is actually going to be an evening event. So from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. on May 1st. And we have a lot of things planned out in programming, but one of the big things that we have mapped out is the opportunity for students to participate in mock classrooms. We want to have an opportunity for students to experience a 4Cs classroom. And these students may be undecided in coming to 4Cs, or maybe they are decided, but they are unfamiliar with the college experience. We want to carve out 20 to 30-minute sessions for them to get an experience of what a 4Cs classroom is. So if you're a faculty member and you would like to participate in this, please reach out, because we would love to have you partner with us. And also, if you're not a faculty member, maybe you are and you want to participate in some other way, we would love for this to be a full campus event where we're demonstrating to these incoming students what it's like to be a 4Cs and really share our culture with them. So if you'd like to participate in any capacity, please reach out to me. I'll be happy to have you on board. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Next, we have Carrie Morell from Success with a couple of announcements. Hi, Carrie.
Hi there. Yes, I'd like to mention the Autism Awareness Celebration that we're having tomorrow, Tuesday, April 2nd, 12 to 1:30 in LaRusso Atrium, is the idea of our student Noah Schmidt to bring the experiences of our students in a panel format, and they'll be presenting their own unique experiences. We'll also have a Q&A, and there'll be some refreshments, cupcakes and coffee as well. The panel starts at 12:15. 12 o'clock is like the meet and greet. 12:15 it starts, and it will be done by 1:30. Another very important announcement I wanted to make was the 4Cs 4U Success Program and Pride Alliance is offering Safe Zone training It will be Tuesday, April 16th from 1 to 3 p.m. in the library boardroom. I will be following up with an email that has a detailed description of the Safe Zone training and also a QR code to register. Because that space is limited, we will have limited seating in the library boardroom, so you do have to register for that. That won't be a drop-in. And that's Tuesday, April 16th, 1 to 3. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. And I'm seeing some comments in chat as well. Please remember for tomorrow, if you wear blue, Noah will be exceptionally pleased to see an audience of folks wearing blue tomorrow for autism awareness. Rebecca, I believe, is going to speak regarding assessment coordinators next.
Yeah, hi, hello. Couple of announcements from the assessment coordinators. Assessment day is coming up on Monday, May 20th. It will run 8 to 3 and we will have lunch provided. Bill also sent out an email to all full-time faculty this morning, including the link to the draft program learning outcomes and some suggested next steps, and a link to an assessment handbook if you find that helpful. We encourage everybody to work within their programs to coordinate initial review and some feedback, and we're hoping to finalize those program learning outcomes at assessment day. And we have some other activities planned so that you can look at where you're covering those learning outcomes in your course and start to think about the actual assessment process. And finally, Bill is running a workshop this Friday from 9 to 10 a.m. on Zoom. If you have any questions, you can attend the workshop. You can email any of the assessment coordinators. And then adjunct faculty, we hope to be able to have adjuncts involved in assessment day. And if there's any adjuncts that would like to be involved in the review of the program learning outcomes, please reach out to your department chairs or your departments. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Rebecca. Next, we have Tom Schaefer with a couple of announcements from sabbatical applications, etc.
So I'm going to work my way backwards, and I'm going to send in the chat, including some files. I'm really hoping those are the right files for Excellence in Teaching nominations. Those are due by the end of the day this Friday. So make sure you check out those and you send the nominations accordingly for the Blue Ribbon Committee. And then for those of you who are really thinking about this, hopefully it's not too late because today is the final day. Today is the deadline for sabbatical leave materials to go in. If you've been working on those with your direct supervisor, you have to make sure that those materials are in to your direct supervisor first, and then the process will get underway. So hopefully you've been in contact with that person. So at the end of day today, sabbatical leave materials, your direct supervisor. At the end of the day on Friday the 5th, Excellence in Teaching nominations, and you can send those directly to me. I've put the materials and the email directly into the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And I believe Vanna has one announcement regarding our upcoming theater production.
Thanks. Sorry, always late to the ball game. Just a reminder, next Thursday, 1 week from this Thursday, we're opening Bright Star by Steve Martin and Edie Brickell. Thanks to those of you that have already reserved your seats. In the chat, you'll find not only the link to reserve tickets, but also a list of some of the students that are going to be appearing. So you might have them in your classes. Come on out and support live performance. We're really excited. This is our first musical since the pandemic shut down our production of Spamalot in March of 2020. So we're very excited to hear these great voices and hope to see you all in the audience. Just a thought, if you're curious about what would be a good day to come, we'll be visited by a faculty member from UMass Boston on Friday, April 12th, sorry. And she's representing the Kennedy Center American College Theater Festival. So it's always great to have a nice, robust house when our Kennedy Center guest joins us. So hope to see you there. Thanks.
Thank you, Vanna. So we are going to move into old business next. And I just wanted to gently remind everyone that at this point, if we spend about 7 minutes per motion with 3 motions in old business and 3 motions in new business, we will still be able to finish that portion of the agenda by around 3 p.m. for final reports. I will be just sort of reminding folks after about the 7-minute mark on each of these discussions so that you can be monitoring how much time we spend on each of those items. Motion number 1, which is coming from last meeting, the advising hold and registration clearance for spring 2025. Who do we have representing?
I am, James.
Is that Allison?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll go ahead and share for you. This is brought from AP&S, and so let me call up the item that we need here. So I'm gonna take 2 seconds. Go ahead and start.
Yeah, so we did bring this up last month. As I recall, one of the few items, there wasn't discussion on that. So oh, there you go.
There we go. Yeah, took me a minute.
Thank you. What we're looking for is to put advising holds on students who have fewer than 24 credits, and for our students who are on probation 1 or probation 2. The goal here is to try to catch these students before they register on their own and really make sure that they're making good choices to get their GPA higher in the case of P1 and P2. And certainly for our new students, a lot of times they come in under a certain program and then they think, you know, maybe they want to change. So it's just extra support for those new students coming in. And if this is approved, we would implement this pretty much after add drop in September. And then those holds would be on there. And once a student met with their advisor, the hold would come off. And then the students would be eligible to go register.
Thank you, Allison. Is there any discussion on this? And I'll go ahead and stop share just so I can see if there's any discussion on chat. Okay. So at this point, hearing no discussion, I believe this motion is eligible to come up for vote. So I will launch a poll for motion 1, which is the advising hold and registration clearance for spring 2025. And since there were no discussions for amendment, we will.
James, this is actually will take effect in fall of 24.
So that was that
it's technically when students will be registering for the spring, but the holds will actually go on in September after add drop.
Okay, so do we need to, let's just make sure everyone is aware of that then, because the language came through and I pasted exactly as it arrived.
It will take effect for students registering for the spring. It's just that the holds go on in the fall. That's all.
Sure. Okay.
Same thing.
I am going to go ahead and launch the poll for approving motion 1 without amendment, since that was just a clarification and that no substantive changes were made with that. Let's launch approve motion 1.
So can I clarify that a yes vote is voting to change the policy, to put a hold on, correct?
Yes, to implement holds.
To implement a hold, okay.
Yeah.
And while folks are continuing to vote in this time, Allison, are you presenting on the next?
Yes,
motion?
does this have to do with the Dean's List?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
Okay, please stay on for that. And then you may be in for some new business later as well.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So last month we brought up the proposal to recognize our part-time students for Dean's List, and it was suggested at college meeting that we get some data. Let's see, how do our part-time students do?
I have that spreadsheet, which I'll share for you during that discussion.
How do our part-time students do GPA wise versus our full-time students? Not surprising. Our part-time student GPAs are significantly higher. So with that in mind, we are
Allison, I need to interrupt you just 1 minute, please. I'm going to end the voting for our previous motion to share results. Motion 1 passed with 82 in favor, 7 against, and 17 abstention. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just wanted to make sure that I have that officially listed for
So in light of the data, while our part-time students do score higher GPAs, we didn't feel that was a reason to still not recognize them. But we did adjust our table. So we adjusted it in 2 ways. We said that students taking 12 or more credits would need a 3.2. It used to be if it was 15 credits, they could have a 3.0, but I know there was discussion about the 3.0 being a bit too low. So if you're 12 or more, you have to have a 3.2 to qualify. If you are taking between 6 and 11 credits, or I'll say 11 under, you have to have a 3.5 GPA. So we we are recommending a higher GPA for students going part-time. And we now have 1 GPA threshold for students who are taking 12 or more credits. And all the other criteria there, they have to have a C or above in all their courses. They have to complete all courses for the semester.
Allison, would you like me to share the spreadsheet that I was sent?
Yes, that'd be great. I think I could just put it in there. So you can see, you know, if you look at the top table, 12% of students in 2022 taking 12 or more credits had a GPA of 3.2. If you look at that same 3.2, 26% of students had a 3.2 or higher for going part-time. So, you know, really twice as many students were scoring in that range. So that's why we bumped it all the way up to the high one, 3.5 for our part-time students and 3.2 for our full-time students. And thanks to Suchi for doing this for us twice.
And I believe Suchi has their hand up for a comment.
Yeah, I just want to add, you know, when we look at the data, we do our college, 17% of students are part-time student. So when we look at the percentage, so we understand we have more part-time student than full-time student. So I just want to clarify on that.
So again, just to summarize, what we're recommending is that if you're a part-time student under 12 credits, you would need a 3.5. You would also need to have completed at least a total of 12 credits at the college. So if you start in the fall and take 6 credits, you're not going to be eligible for the Dean's List. You have to have at least had 1 semester of 6 credits. And then for our full-time students, we're having 1 threshold, 12 or more credits, you have to have a 3.2.
Thank you, Allison. Is there any discussion on motion number 2, which is the revised Dean's List policy?
I'm curious about the decision to, I know it isn't part of the discussion, but I saw that students can't withdraw from a class and still be eligible. That does not include add drop, that's just withdraw, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And add drop is when they do it before it's going to be part of their record. It's during the add drop week. After that, it's a withdrawal.
Tom?
So just for clarification, the difference of GPA from part-time to full-time students, the reason why that 0.3 separation is okay is based upon what you might have said it. I just
That's
missed
okay. So what we found in the data is that a significantly higher number students Well, let me rephrase. Our students who are going part-time have a significantly higher GPA. If you look at the column in the first table, 3.2 to 4.0. In 2022, 12% of the full-time students were in that GPA range. If you go down to the bottom, 26% of part-time students had a 3.2. So we felt that, again, because students are taking fewer courses, their GPAs are higher. We felt that a higher threshold because they're only part-time.
And is there any data that supports that the reasoning why they're part-time is anything significant? I mean, a lot of part-time students anecdotally would be because they're working, right?
Well, there really isn't a way to determine why there's no data to say why a student is part-time or full-time. And quite honestly, as you all may know, students can adjust their schedules. And one semester they can be full-time, one semester they could be part-time or three-quarter time.
Right.
It's just in looking at the GPA, this was a pretty significant difference.
Right. So to that point, then I would probably point out that if we're going to make an assumption on one hand, but not on the other, we're doing a disservice to these students. I think the higher cutoff is, I think, more standard, right? 3.5, but to have it significantly lower for full-time students, but then we're not gathering data or at least understanding specifically why they are capable of having full-time status versus part-time. It seems like we're hamstringing part-time students even more than they're already hamstrung to finishing their degree.
Thank you, Tom. Shuki is next, and then Lisa.
Can I take some time to clarify the data itself? Can I share my screen? If I can share my screen, I have the data available here.
Okay.
So I think this data has been asked. This what it is. It's really, we are not looking at here is whether part-time student are performing better than full-time student. I think here we're simply look at it. Okay, we look at the student. Then there's one group taking 12 or more credits per term, and another group is taking between six and 11 credits. So that's their GPA range. And here's the percent of their total, within that, for example, in this range, 2018, in this range, the percentage represent, the number of students in that range divided by total number of students in that year. So that's basically 9%, the full-time student in this range. And if you look at the second, 16% of part-time student in this range, GPA range. It doesn't tell you whether their part-time student are performing better than full-time student. So that will be another question. This is just tell you the proportion of the student in each of those bucket, the GPA bucket. So I think as I clarified earlier, why this is higher, as I said, we have a majority of students are part-time student. That's 70% student are part-time student. That's why, the number of students in this bucket is higher. I think this simply, that's the data tell us. Just want to clarify, it doesn't tell us full-time students are performing better than part-time student. That will be another question. We can take a look.
Thank you, Suchi, for that clarification. I know we also have Lisa Heller-Borashin with the question, and I just wanted to, Lisa, while you're speaking, I'm going to share the current policy for everyone to see if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the way I understand Dean's Bliss is that it's meant to be the top percentage of students, right? So if we make the distinction between part-time and full-time, we're either going to penalize the full-time or penalize or give reward the part-time if we keep the policy too high. If we keep it at 3.5, then you're penalizing full-time people for going full-time because they tend to have a lower GPA. If you lower it, you're basically ensuring that you're going to have a lot more part-time people on the dean's list. So it seems like apples and oranges. The students who are in a full-time program are different from part-time program in the way Kathy Reynolds just pointed out. And so it seems like we should be looking at cohorts instead of looking at the student body as a monolith. So the part-time students being evaluated against part-time students. And the way to kind of avoid all this is just say the top percentage in a program, which is what a lot of schools do. I think keeping it at 3.5 or 3.2 just makes it easier for us to calculate the dean's list, but a lot of schools make it the top 10% or the top 5%. So, that would be the other way to do it.
Lisa, thank you. Is there, I have to check chat here. Please forgive me. Dr. Varenos, do you have anything you'd like to add from your chat comment?
Yeah, this came forward and then it was taken up by the committee as part of the comprehensive retention management plan that was presented by Dean Quidadamo and brought forward by the retention task force during the fall semester. And then the committee took up the opportunity to examine our dean's list. Our policy is an outlier versus the other community colleges that do allow both part-time and full-time students access to achievements via a dean's list and other approaches. And the purpose or the rationale for opening up the opportunity for part-time students is to give them the opportunity to receive that positive reinforcement and achievement. And we know that positive reinforcement contributes to retention. That's it.
Thank you, Kathy. So at this point, we are entering into the 10-minute mark or so for discussion on this motion. Is there continued discussion or perhaps a motion to bring this to vote or to say return this to committee? What would people like to do?
We don't need a motion to vote on this because it's the second reading. It's already on the floor.
Thank you, Claudine. I remember that. I need repeat exposure to the rules. Thank you. But if we were to refer this, there would need to be a motion for that. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. So I await your next move, folks.
I make a motion to accept as is.
Maura, thank you. And at this point, we can just bring to vote then, if there's no further discussion according to what Claudine just said. So I can launch the poll for motion 2, which is the revised Dean's List policy, not hearing any further discussion. Launch. There we go. Thank you, Claudine. We'll give this a few more seconds to make sure everyone has the opportunity who is able to cast a vote is able to do so. At this point, it looks like voting has almost stopped. I will give this again 10 more seconds or so. And ending the poll, it looks as follows. The motion 2, which is a revised Dean's List policy, did not achieve 50% in favor. We had 39% in favor, 29% against, and 32% abstention. Claudine, from my understanding, what needs to happen if this is to be brought back? Is it a brand new motion under new business?
Yes, it would be a brand new motion.
Thank you so much for that. We will then move forward to our third piece of old business. And I believe, Maura, I just heard your voice. So I think, are you here to summarize motion number 3 for us?
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, thanks. I'm not sure if it's me or does it come from the chair of the committee?
Well, we just need someone to basically sort of reintroduce that motion 3 so that folks can entertain discussion and or voting for motion 3.
Okay, thanks, James. So the motion was to remove wellness from the advising admissions wellness committee and compromise the campus well-being committee. The idea was to have it serve as its own committee, and examples of people that would be on it would be people from the behavioral intervention team, people interested in like safety with public safety, wellness, and human resources. And the rationale was because we just received the Okanagan Charter. We're the first community college in the country to have like this workplace wellness initiative, and we would really like to make it campus-wide, and it's for all faculty, student, and staffs. And the wellness need has grown so much. It's kind of gone from a student wellness to overall wellness. And so that's the charge is there as well. It's to make a climate of campus well-being and safety for faculty, staff, and students, integrating the charter, work on a wellness strategic plan, and embed it into all aspects of the campus. That was brought to last month's meeting.
Thank you, Maura. I appreciate that. I see Claudine has their hand up.
I would like to make a motion to postpone approval of this motion until the May college meeting. I have a second, and I'd like to give my rationale once I have the second.
Second.
Thank you, Kate. So the steering committee of college meeting met on Friday, and we had a number of questions. And we just haven't had the ability since Friday to actually be in communication with the makers of the motion. I'll just give one example. As the motion is written now, it would mean that everyone in BIT, Safety, Wellness, and Human Resources would have to serve on this committee as it's written. So we were trying to get some more clarity. We're not trying to stop this from becoming a reality in the fall, but it needs to be cleaned up, and we have lots of questions that need to be addressed to make sure that this is in order.
Thank you, Claudine. Is there further discussion?
I just think it's really imperative that we have it before the fall, because there's things that we would like to get moving on, and I guess I'm not clear on why it has to be delayed again when this is the second time it's been brought to the campus.
Sheila, I see your hand up. And please understand I'm multitasking, so for delay. Go ahead, Sheila.
So just, I'm the chair of the Admissions Advising Wellness Committee. We actually meet after this meeting today, and we actually just canceled it because I have another meeting. So we wouldn't be able to meet for until after college meeting next May. So if you wanted to send it to our committee, we just couldn't vote on it to get the questions answered. We wouldn't be able to vote on a new motion from our committee because that committee doesn't meet until after the college meeting next month. If that makes sense.
Thank you, Sheila. Claudine?
It does make sense, and unfortunately, the timing with the governance committee is we meet the the steering committee meets the Friday before college meeting. So this was our first time to talk about it after the debate at the initial read of this change. So it is feasible that the questions could be addressed by email. But we kind of are where we are. As I mentioned, if this passes today, it means that every person in BIT, safety, wellness, and human resources would all be required to serve on this committee. And I'm assuming that was not the intent of the makers. Right. So stuff like that has to be clarified before this passes. Otherwise, that's the outcome. So again, we're not trying to stop this change from happening, but the parameters of it clearly need to be narrowed down so that it's reasonable for everyone and then in place by fall.
Thank you, Claudine.
Claudine, if you send me the updates and then I can see if my committee can meet earlier before college meeting to see if we can get it addressed.
Okay, so I just want to be clear again, folks. I understand Claudine's point. Thank you, Claudine, for that. Just the idea was, a campus of well-being where, we are all trying to help each other out and support each other. And, I don't particularly care who sits on the committee, just that we recognize that campus well-being is important and that we try to embed it in all aspects of campus, regardless who sits on the committee. So I'll do whatever college meeting decides. I just want to get it done.
Tom, your hand is up.
Yeah, and Maura, I'll tell you that this motion is to agree with you, actually, but to make sure that it is structured well and clear, not only to the specific expert wishes that you have for it, but to make sure that it fits in the larger scope of governance. And so since it has such importance, it's not going to be something that is put off. So I think the idea, and I can look at it some eyes here on the screen, is we'll push this quick enough to get the clarity so that way there by next meeting we can make a move on this. Yeah, I'm seeing some nods in the right places. So yeah, we're in
the right places, or from the other. There's a lot of people on the. Is there any other discussion about it?
Yeah, well, so if you'd like, I'll give you an example. So what one little project that we had discussed on Friday during steering committee and that we're exploring is like the larger structure of committees and the need for committee chairs and committees as a whole to begin looking at their charges and their makeups. A number of committees are very large, for example, and there needs to be a discussion about whether current charges and makeups of committees are actually structured well for 2024, 2025, right? So when people begin to review those things and we can make some moves in the next month, it will be the concept that when you are able to make this motion happen, it will be structured well and in a supportive way rather than in a haphazard way. So there's lots of support for what you're doing, but we want to make sure that it's very clear and specifically going to engage the community the way that you want it to engage the community. So I hope that makes some sense.
So would it be the way it's written now? Can if each? No, you can't do that. I just want it away from advising and admissions. Can that be done today? Or no?
No, it's too soon.
Thank you, Tom. And hearing sort of a lull in the conversation, I do have a poll which we can vote on for postponement just until May. It is not a anything but a delay till the May meeting. And this will hopefully coincide with some sort of reflection and introspection from all committees to, as Tom was saying, examine charge and makeup and to have a frank and, if necessary, anonymous discussion for folks about what committees are doing. Do chairs need support? Do chairs need guidance in their work? And is the makeup of the committee appropriate for its charge? And what is the charge? So with that, hearing no further input, I will launch a motion to postpone. And I think, give me a second to edit this. The language is absolutely atrocious. So give me, there we go. Save here and launch. So what we have is a motion to postpone on the table for specifically motion 3, which is the formation of a separate wellness committee, which will be brought back for May's meeting. And we'll go about 10 more seconds or so here to make sure the numbers are coming in. All right, so it looks like we are leveling out on the voting. At this point, motion to postpone for our motion 3 passes with 74% in favor, 8% or 8 votes against, and 18% or 19 abstentions. So this will return to our table in May. And Tom, you have your hand up again.
I just needed a point for clarification. Because this is postponed, Claudine, it doesn't need to come up for discussion twice. This is something that we can amend for May and then vote on in May.
Yes. Yes.
So we can amend this in the meantime, bring it back, and then vote on new language in May to make sure that it is executed for fall.
That sounds
Yeah,
right.
so who amends it? Like, who gets what? Is there a process for this?
I would assume it's the Advising Admissions and Wellness Committee as it currently stands that would clarify membership language, et cetera, bring that back, and then discussion would ensue on that new language for voting. Is that correct?
That is correct. And we can send the questions that we had, or one of us that's on the steering committee could talk to somebody who's on
If you could send
amongst
it
the
to me,
makers.
yeah, I'm the chair of the Admissions Advising Wellness Committee. If you want to send it to me and maybe CC Mara, and then I'll get my committee to try to meet. I'm actually emailing them as we talk to see if we can get us to meet beforehand. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. All right. I need a sip of coffee. We're moving on to new business. We have, I believe Allison is coming back for AP&S regarding a motion for course substitutions. Is that correct?
Hi, James, it's Lucy, and actually I'm giving Allison a break on this one, so I'll be presenting this motion.
I'll go ahead and share my screen with what was sent then.
Okay, great, thank you.
There we go.
Okay, so this policy was actually brought to AP&S from my office. The registrar's office is the office that processes course substitutions. And in looking over the form, we realized that the form, this is one of very few forms that actually does require the academic dean's signature. So we thought that it would be a good idea to add the signature on the course substitution form, primarily so that the dean is aware of and informed of different discussions that are happening in their department regarding students and the availability of different courses. What we're finding is that we're hoping that by having the dean's signature, it will also enable departments to have discussions about perhaps other alternatives other than substitutions. Perhaps a course could be run low enrolled if a handful of students need this course to graduate. Perhaps a directed study would be a good option. And also, if we continue to see the same courses come through time and time again requesting a substitution, it's a possibility that hopefully the dean and the department will have the conversation about whether or not this course needs to possibly be retired, an opportunity to look at a program to see how that course fits into the program. Could there be changes made? And also, there are times when over the last few years, I have questioned substitutions coming through. I know that I have questioned each department at one time or another with my concerns. And again, in that aspect, I'm just doing my job. I have to question things if something just doesn't look right or I don't understand the substitution. Oftentimes, if we bring in the academic dean into the discussion about my questions about a course substitution, they're oftentimes just aren't informed that this even is occurring. So this really is just the opportunity to have the academic dean informed of a situation where course substitutions are occurring. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. Is there any discussion? This will, of course, come back as old business in May. But I just wanted to see if there was any discussion or points of clarification for folks who are in attendance. Lisa, your hand is up.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, this is a very problematic change for multiple reasons. The first one is just timing. Like a lot of discussions of course substitutions happen during the add drop period, and they often, I've had situations where we're scrambling to try to get students to complete and graduate, and to add that extra layer of bureaucracy at the very, tail end of that, it seems like an unnecessary extra hurdle for students. I can think of one or two students who we barely managed to squeak them through, but because of this, and the department really has to come together and work on this. The second thing is I feel like, there is a lot of academic integrity at our college. I feel like the faculty are very careful about course substitutions. This is never something that we take lightly. And if we are having discussions about curriculum, I feel like it should be within the faculty's purview to make those decisions.
Thank you, Lisa. Any further comments or clarification on motion for the course substitution policy? Dr. Reynos.
Hi, thank you for your comments, Lisa. I appreciate what you're saying, and I appreciate what the faculty, how much our faculty are dedicated to academic integrity. At the same time, we have varying levels of experience. We have 7 new faculty coming in, and various varying levels of experience. The role of an academic dean is to guide, mentor, and provide an administrative double check on all of these things, and to see these strands of commonalities that emerge across actively moving, fast-moving situations that individual faculty or departments may not see. As far as this is concerned, I have not seen waivers come forward without signatures from academic deans. In other institutions, I think it's healthy and appropriate. And I would, that's all I have to say on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Any further comments or contributions to this discussion? All right. Please be thinking about this, and we will see this motion then return as old business in May. I will move us on at this point to the Fresh Start policy, and I'm not sure Lucy or Allison who might be presenting.
That's me.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and let you take the floor for the rationale and on that.
So currently the Fresh Start policy is a student has to be away at least a full year. They have to come back with an academic standing of probation 1 or probation 2, or that they were dismissed. But there's another category in there, which is academic review. And students have a GPA below 2. They can be on review if they haven't attempted very many credits. I think the threshold is, for instance, you could have 9 to 15 credits and have a GPA of 1.5 to 1.99. You're on review. You can have 16 to 24 credits, and you can have a GPA between 1.75 and 1.99, and you're on review. Now, these are students that are still in pretty big jeopardy, but the college gives them up until 24 credits as to when their GPA has to be a 2.0. So we want to recognize that there are some students in this academic review category that should really be eligible for Fresh Start. And without the policy saying without the policy adding academic review in there, we're not able to offer a Fresh Start to these students. So currently it's P1, P2 and dismissal, and the other criteria below a 2, you've been away for a year. We'd like to add that your standing could also be academic review, which does mean your GPA is below 2.
Thank you, Allison. Is there any discussion or contributions to this motion? I'm going to go ahead and stop share. This, by the way, the language of both the current and proposed policy for all motions today is in the agenda. So that's available for you to review between now and next month. So just asking again for motion number 5 today, the Fresh Start policy. Any further information that should come out today for people to think about? Okay. Hearing nothing, I will go ahead and ask if I believe we have one last bit of new business, which is the charge and composition of the Professional Development Committee. And is it Kate Callender who's going to be presenting this today, or who do we have for that?
I'm here. Hello.
Thank you. Yep. I'll go ahead and share my screen as we discussed about the highlighted text that you have for this.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Hello, colleagues. I'm here with a motion for your consideration regarding the charge and composition of the Professional Development Committee. We submitted, here it is. The previous policy it just mentions a little bit about what our job is. And we would like to add to our job by having a declaration of a theme for professional development for the upcoming academic year at the close of the current year. The rationale for this change would be that it would allow us to do a much more comprehensive job, especially in the fall semester, if we already know what the theme may be for planning and execution of the December Professional Day, which we can then carry forward into the May meeting. We are also looking to alter the composition where previously it was 2 support staff. And if you could just scroll down a little here, please, James. We would like to change that to the Support Staff Association officer, currently Marianne Stacy, and 1 other support staff member. So the number of individuals would not change. We would just be changing the composition of support staff composition. And that was redundant, but thank you. That's my presentation.
Thank you, Kate. Just to let you know, the highlighted text that you see on the shared screen currently did not transfer into the agenda. And so I wanted to make sure folks had a chance to see where the changes were occurring. Is there any discussion or contributions to this bit of new business that we may think about this month before it comes back in May? Okay. Hearing none, this will then become part of our old business landscape. Kate, thank you for that presentation, and we will begin to move toward the reports for today. I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for being mindful of time. I'm thrilled that we stand a chance, of course, to get through reports and not be horribly over time in today's meeting. Although I do understand that this time of year, it can be a dense agenda for the college meeting. So my report today has already partially been given. I want to just let you know that from the March meeting, committee reports and the basic skills assessment policy were signed off by the president. And so those motions from March were put into action. I wanted to let you all know, and I believe VP Varenos will talk a bit more about this in their report, but starting with the May college meeting and going forward through next year, there will be a slot in our agenda which will be dedicated for strategic planning committee updates. And so it's important for us to both provide information and, if necessary, solicit feedback and information from the greater college campus and community. So there will be a portion of that will precede the old and new business, but follow announcements, just so that the strategic planning committee has a chance to get that information out to you all. And then as we sort of heard in mixed in throughout the discussion on some of our old and new business, I would like the folks that are participating in committees right now to undergo a genuine sort of self-reflection about the committees. I believe governance is very important. It shouldn't be all-consuming, and it shouldn't occupy our lives 24/7. But we also should not be apathetic about the importance of college governance, and even in the small details, things are important, and we see this in every meeting. One of the things that's important to keep in mind about the charge and makeup of committees, in addition to just understanding is the makeup and is the charge pertinent to what's happening on campus, and is the work that's being done consistent with what you think should be being done. We have to keep in mind that there have been changes, and I'm learning this as I go. This is not a unique condition for Cape Cod Community College, but the numbers of folks in various ranks, faculty numbers have diminished. And in my understanding from conversations, what may have been a population of 100 or so faculty members a handful of years ago is now down to perhaps 70. And so that does have an impact on committee makeup and opportunities for folks to be part of committees. In the SSA, the same thing has happened, and I understand that a few years ago maybe there were 130 to 140 members in this group, and now it might be down to about 60. So definitely those changes that have happened over the past decade or so might warrant some frank discussion about committee makeup. Also, committee chairs. I know coming into this role as college meeting chair, and also as steering committee chair, I am pretty much constantly on the outreach mode for assistance. Is this going well? Is this being conducted the right way? Are we doing what we need to do? And I believe that all chairs for all committees should have at least the option for guidance and assistance, and as needed training about what it means to be chair for that committee, and for that committee to be working and doing its work in a productive and meaningful way. So I'm sort of thinking about Dr. Verinos's comment about new faculty coming in, we had, I believe, 7 new faculty members. Those folks obviously won't hit the ground running and be immediately placed in governance, but they do have sort of a feathering in process. But I think from the FPC, there are quite a few faculty who will be doing reassignments for fall. I think that after a certain lifespan on committees, people get reassigned and have a chance to move on to other grounds. And so it's kind of important for folks to know what committees are actually doing and what type of work might be involved, because people will want to make informed decisions about that. Who assigns and that is a question I am not able to answer, Dr. Weir, about committee assignments. There is a process for that. I would recommend, well, I can certainly ask here if there's a Reader's Digest quick answer to that. Who is responsible for committee assignments? That may not be consistent across all committees. Does anyone have a response to that for Dr. Weir?
Not me. Audrey asked it.
Yep.
Yeah,
I have
the quick answer.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom. Thanks.
Quick answer is that FPC is responsible for assigning faculty to committees based upon input. And the president designates particular members to certain committees. And through collaboration, staff members are assigned based upon input, as well as whether or not their role requires placement on committees.
Thank you, Tom.
If it's faculty, just send it to me, basically.
Awesome. Claudine?
I'm sorry, who do we send it to if it's staff?
So that's going to depend on what position we're talking about. With professional staff, I can't speak to support staff, but with professional staff, it's a conversation between the individual professional staff member and their supervisor. And then if there's agreement about serving on said committee, then that goes actually into the person's annual job description. So there isn't one person who assigns the professional staff.
Thank you, Claudine. And just to sort of wrap up here, I wanted to say it's been a pleasure to serve as college meeting chair, and starting next meeting, I will be foregoing being chair of the meeting because I'm sure there's a lot of other folks out there that will be able to do the job much better than myself. April Fool's Day. You're not, sorry about that. I'm not leaving, please don't worry. But I will go ahead and turn reporting over to the president for our next report. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, James, I guess. Just to really change a little bit of the focus to where we are with building the FY 2025 budget. You may be aware that the state has been missing the mark in terms of the revenue coming in that they projected this year. And as we look at next year, we're anticipating some further belt tightening. As we prepare for that, the board will consider an adjustment to the student fees ranging to approximately 5% across the board. And this would be used in part to offset the increased cost, the inflation that we've incurred over the past 18 months, as well as continuing to position the college for the future and hopefully a steady growth, although it may not be 30% every semester. As we look at the public policies that the board has been particularly interested in pushing, first off, around Mass Reconnect, the ability to reduce the age requirement for students. The hope is that even if we can't do it all at one time, maybe over time, we can parse that out in smaller increments. I would note that at this particular moment, the college has expended more revenue than what we have actually taken in terms of Mass Reconnect the state has an IOU that we're looking forward to having filled once the next supplemental is passed, and that should make us all fine for this year. We would also like to see the nursing scholarship adjusted, where the restriction for students that already have a degree is eliminated, noting that from a public health perspective and the need for nurses in particular, this would be an avenue to open up the possibilities for students that are looking to change careers and move into nursing. As Tom already mentioned, the sabbatical proposals are due close of business today, so we're looking forward to getting those. And then I would also add that the college will be supplying temporary glasses with special purpose solar filters for next month's college meeting. Oh, I'm sorry, that's for the eclipse that's coming up. Just seeing if you're paying attention, James. And then finally, we have a speaker for commencement. We're going to have Steve Gross. He's a social worker. He's the chief playmaker and the founder of the Life is Good Foundation. And his mantra is that optimism is the single most important trait that a person can have. So we're looking forward to seeing him here at commencement in May. Thank you.
Thank you, President Cox. Are there any questions or comments for President Cox? Talis, go ahead.
So it will be a 5% increase on the students' bodies tuition. That's what did you say, President Cox?
It would be on the fees. Okay. Some of the fees.
All right. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Talis. Let's see here. Hearing no further discussion, I will ask VP Verenos for a report from Academic and Student Affairs.
Hi, everybody. I know this is the busiest time of the year, registration opening for the upcoming schedule for summer and for fall. Please, if you have done the training, set your calendar and enable students to book directly into your calendar using Navigate. If you haven't done that training, please reach out to your students, primary advisors, the faculty members are really important to ensuring that students are on a track with intentionality to finish in their intended program, just as our secondary advisors are as well. So thank you for all that you're doing to increase students' awareness of the importance of early registration, especially as we have so many more students and the prime time schedule from 10 to 1 o'clock closes up so quickly. So please encourage them to register early. The most important thing, we're in the active process of finalizing the schedule for Professional Development Day with Title III team and the Professional Development Committee. The focus will be on curriculum to career innovation in the context of introducing a new pedagogical approach, which is the gamification of content to increase students' enjoyment and engagement and participation. So it should be really interesting and demonstrate the ways in which we can tackle students' milestones in the development of being career ready, not just I get a job, but lifelong career management abilities by hitting systematic milestones as they progress through their 4Cs experience both in and out of the classroom. So that I hope will be a lot of fun, and it will also inform us in terms of current approaches for managing ourselves at the same time and working together as a team, honoring all of our contributions to the students' experience here. So professional development is very much underway. As you all know, Suchi and I are serving as co-chairs of a large strategic planning committee that includes representation from NUPS, faculty, staff, and trustee members throughout the college. We have had touch point 1 with the Department of Higher Education, in which we've been trained by them on the 3 touch points we should have with the DHE throughout our strategic planning process. And we've discussed the metrics that we are asked to be accountable for in our strategic planning, but we've also discussed the balance between our independence and our alignment with the DHE's priorities. We have divided up in the Strategic Planning Committee for this semester into 3 subcommittees that will seek to gain input from external stakeholders who are employers, alumni. There is a student survey that has had an unprecedented level of participation already that I believe is closing today. Suchi will address it. All of this information will go into finalizing external scans and internal scans on where we stand at the conclusion of our 2020 to 25 strategic plan. Those external scans will be and internal will be presented to all of you with feedback opportunities. What's missing? What do you see? What are priorities? Give us feedback at the conclusion of this semester, and then work will continue. I want to say, I'm going to turn it over to Suchi in a second to share with you the timeline, and that'll be it for me. But I want to say that we are very, very committed to ensuring that this plan is recognizable and focused and reflective of the hopes and aspirations of our collective community. Those of us who are internal to the college, those that we serve among our student body, and our regional stakeholders as well. So you're not going to find one author on this. You're going to find that this is a very inclusive process and a respectful process, I hope. So with that, I hand it over to Suchi. Thank you.
Thanks, Cassie. So I think you all can see my screen. So we're happy to provide a brief update on the timeline on behalf of the planning committee. So as you've seen, so we divided tasks into 3 stages. The first stage, which is gathering input and information and analyzing data, which will be happening in spring 2024. We have already have as Cassie mentioned, a solid draft for the internal analysis, really focus on the enrollment trends and the KPI, key performance indicators and strategy assessment, and also external analysis focus on, demographic trend, economic factors, social culture change, competition, technological advancement, and public policy. Really look at from broad environment factors to examine all the factors which are impact our school. And we did a kickoff meeting last week. So as Cassie mentioned, we have 3 subcommittees focused on stakeholder analysis. One is a student, which we already administered student survey. We will close the survey on Friday this week. We have a very good response rate so far. And another group focused on alumni. And the third group was really getting input from employers. So we'll present those 2 analysis as in May college meeting. And the goal of this semester is to conduct a SWOT analysis and also provide the update to the Board of Trustees in June board meeting. So summer and the fall 2024, we really focus on developing the plan draft and collecting feedback and the revisions. So we start from the review and update mission, vision, and values. And from there, we define our plan goals, objectives, and the metric. And as Cassie mentioned, then there'll be opportunity to provide feedback and the revision. So the touch point 2 with DHE will be in December. So in spring 2025, that's the finalize the plan and the preparation for implementation. So this is very brief. So any questions?
Suchi, thank you so much. And Dr. Dranos, thank you for your report. Is there more that you wish to add, Dr. Dranos?
No, I did see Kristen's hand go up though.
Yes, I did have one question. The last I heard, there was approximately 900 student responses.
It's gone up. I think we're at 1,100 as of Friday, right, Suchi?
Yes, this time, thank you so much for faculty, everyone who helped with the survey. We have a very high engagement from the student. I will provide update next week. So I don't want to, when we close the survey, when we clean up the data, I will provide another update.
Good job.
Thank you, Kristen. So at this point, we are scheduled to have a report from VP Clark for Finance and Operations, but with permission, VP Clark, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Can I allow Talis D'Souza to make a brief announcement before you? Would that be offensive?
That's fine. Oh, that's fine.
Oh, okay, Talis, if you're still here, I understand you do have to be moving on. So if you'd like to make a brief announcement.
Oh, sure. Thank you so much, VP Clark. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm excited to share some highlights from the Student Government Association this semester. And on Wednesday, March 24th, our student government visited the State House in Boston, where we advocated for the Hunger-Free Campus Initiative bill that adds $2 million in the next year's state budget to address food insecurity on public colleges in Massachusetts. And looking ahead, we're working on the Earth Week in April with plans for a campus cleanup or tree planting, and we are hoping to have a panel discussion on water quality. In addition, we are in the early stages of organizing an end of the year celebration. The location time are to be determined, but the day is for sure Thursday, May 2nd. And lastly, we are currently involved in the planning process for the SJ general elections, which will determine the next SJ officers for the 2024 and 2025 school year. And as we approach the end of the spring semester, we are dedicated to advancing these plans and rely on your support. How can you assist us? By sharing information about our events and activities to your students. Thank you so much, and we hope we can make a great end of the semester.
Talis, thank you so much for waiting a few extra minutes for your announcement. I didn't want you to have to send emails out as you did the last meeting, so thank you for that. Are there any comments or questions for Talis? All right, hearing none. Thank you so much, Talis, for that report. And VP Clark, thank you for your acquiescence to let Talis go before you. I appreciate that. And the floor is yours.
Yeah, no, always happy to help. Just a couple things that I have on the solar eclipse. It is going to be Monday, April 8th. It starts at 2:16. The max exposure to being able to see it, the darkest period, if you would, is on 3:30, and then it ends at 4:39. As President Cox had indicated, we do have the ISO glasses. I think we've received them, and we'll come up with a distribution plan, so we'll have them out for next Monday. And we do have all the sites. We will send some up to Plymouth and some out to BSU as well. Just a note that watching the summary of this, that if it's a cloudy day, then it's going to be all for naught, unfortunately. So let's hope for a kind of a nice day and a clear day. In terms of, I know I've given an update on the space needs. Unfortunately, we have not been able to secure funding. from DCAM, our kind of parent agency. So we are going to continue to go through. Some of the work is just too important to not continue, but we will rely upon people to use the existing furniture in many cases. So I'm working pretty closely with Joe McKinnon, and once we have some layout plans, we'll present those. But the new furniture that we had hoped to get to kind of create a new experience, we don't have the funding for. What we do have the funding for, and we hope to get accomplished in the Tilden Arts Center, we have new auditorium seating that we are in the process of securing, and we will hopefully by June 30th have a whole new seats all in the main theater. So about 660 seats in total. I think we're a few shy of that. That 660 is what we have now. And they will be very similar in coloration to what we have over in the new science and engineering building with the blue and black coloring. On AMT, I just want to kind of do a shout out to Epicurean Feast. They've been a great partner for us, and we had some fresh food vending machines that really weren't adequate to the purpose. So they are in the process of setting up a micro mart that should be hopefully fully operational as early as tomorrow. So we'll have the micro mart ready to go up at AMT for the students up there and faculty to be able to have a fresh food alternative. That site is a little bit remote, so instead of driving out to a restaurant, they can stay on site and have a better food option. But just thank you to the Epicurean Feast folks for kind of making that happen. It's been a kind of a long time in coming. And then on the budget, President Cox had already kind of mentioned about what we're proposing. I just want to thank you to the several departments that submitted. I would say the tough part of being the finance guy is when you get a whole bunch of requests and you only have half the money to be able to do it or a third of the money to be able to do it. We're not going to be able to fulfill all, but if we know about it, certainly we can apply for grants and take other avenues to try to kind of fill that need as we go. And then lastly, we have Diane Wolf is going to be our new certified police officer, and she will be starting on Monday. So Dave McGraw had obviously been with us for quite a while, and he's departed. And his replacement is Diane Wolf, who comes to us from the BSU campus, 19 years of experience, and she lives on the Cape. So it's great to have a experienced professional joining our team. And that's all I have. I see a hand up.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Rich. Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a nice comment about the Epicurean Feast up at the Plymouth Hangar. They started doing everything today, switching over. So these students were very happy with the fact that as they were swapping over inventories, there was plenty of free snacks to be had by all students. So they were very pleased with at least today's portion of everything being free.
Yeah, we probably won't be able to do free for a long time. I guess they're pretty good eaters, is what I'm hearing, Rich. So, but I'm happy that we wanted to make sure they could at least experiment with the food that we're bringing up there.
Yeah, thank you. It's greatly appreciated by students. Thank you.
And there was one question in the chat, Chris, regarding the possibility of having some of the glasses for the eclipse available prior to Monday, just for folks that might not be on campus Monday.
Yeah, we purchased 300, so we'll distribute them around. Probably come up with a plan tomorrow or Wednesday, and we'll distribute them. I think we have them. We just need to identify where they are. They came in the mail today, so we should have them ready to go by Wednesday.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
Any further comments or questions for VP Clark? Well, it's that time, folks. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Thank you. And a second? Absolutely. Let me go ahead. And we will, if people can hang on long enough to click the yes, that would be great. Have a wonderful rest of your day today. Thank you. And we have happily surpassed quorum for adjournment. 73 out of 75 agree, 1 abstention, and 1 no vote. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day.